my hands up for your love and affection. I don't want to run election, cause you're my selection. Follow me into my direction. Wake up early morning, just do some sit-ups. Call her phone, but she know they pick up. This girl, she be ginger. She don't know, say I'm a TV singer. And I don't know what to do, cause I'm in love with you.
I want you to be my one day. Will you be my one day? I want you to be my one day. Will you be my one day? I want you to be my one day. Will you be my one day? I want you to be my baby. Champion lover, me do do. Me do do do. Champion lover, me do do do. Me do do do. Champion lover, me do do do. Me do do do. Champion lover, me do do do. Me do do do. Hey, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, baby. Hey, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you, baby. Plenty girls they come, but me I know they see them. Plenty women they come, but me I know they see them. Will you be the one? Will you be the one? Will you be the one that make and they fly like butterfly? Me do 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 me do do do. Me do 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 me do do do. I want you to be my one day.
Man, you know that's a song by an old colleague of mine, actually. You know, one of the guys I actually grew up with, Amate. It's a Champion Lover feed. Rest in peace, Castro. And yeah, somehow I just found this track somewhere, and I was listening to it because Amate himself, he's not doing that much of a promotion, but I like this song too much. Champion Lover. If you're looking for it, go to your streaming platforms. You can find it. Champion Lover, Amate featuring Castro. Our promised guest just got in, so we kind of like set him up, and then hopefully we can have a lovely conversation. He's sitting right across of me, and I'm preparing some stuff, getting my questions straight. And also DJ Slim is helping me produce, get the technicalities correct, and then we can adjourn this conversation.
Hi Radio, your perfect choice.
Listen to your number one radio. Hi Radio.
You say you fine, you know they get me. I know be Donny. I see you with the soji. Anyway, me I know go get. Not only you, I the one I swear. So don't waste time, baby, my rose. Oh yeah, cause it be you I want, it be you I they want. Oh, I go prove my love, I go miss it all. I don't wanna hear say, you there with another man. Where will you go?
Perfect choice.
Yes. Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. If you're tuned in, welcome back to Hi Radio African Focus, where we celebrate African excellence. Today we're talking about shifting your mindset, taking on new career paths, and doing that which you are truly called to do. Our guest is a Dutch-Ghanaian life coach, speaker, a serial entrepreneur, one that actually found himself relating more to his people than he had imagined. His newly found platform, Africans Like Me, seeks to celebrate Africans in the diaspora. And what may also spark your interest is that he is a former pastor who has taken on a more specific life mission of coaching people while he drives his taxi business. Let's talk about how he connects his true passion of coaching people to his serial entrepreneurship. Please help me welcome Oliver Yeboah.
All right. Wow.
I can hear you. How you doing, Mr. Oliver?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I mean, what an introduction.
Thank you. We tried so hard with the introductions. Glad you like it.
Yeah.
But already, you walked in and I was like, you do so many things. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I'm a
So
busy guy.
I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. I'm one who I'm seeking knowledge, and I know our listeners also love these jams, and they really enjoy lots of our podcasts, and also our guests. We bring people who don't only do one thing. There's always some other stuff to it. But you know what? Let's start with the present. How are you? Where are you in this place of your life? How's the lockdown treating you?
Well, thank you for having me. Where am I? I think we're at the end of long lockdown.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest though, when the lockdown started, I thought it would just take like 2 weeks or something. And,
You were not the only one, trust me.
Yeah, so after 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm not doing this anymore. And
Yeah.
I kept on just doing business as usual. Almost it's a year and a couple of months after.
Mhm.
And I'm doing great actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Good to hear.
Business isn't as usual, but
Right.
it has brought a lot of new things actually. So,
Well,
let's talk about it.
let me ask you on that. Business is not as it used to be, or let's say as usual, right? So, due to Corona, there is this thing, a new normal. How are you coping with it? Like,
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't necessarily say there's a new normal,
okay,
but as I think, what's his name? Albert Einstein, he said, in the midst of every crisis lies opportunity. You know?
Right.
So I took this situation actually as a new opportunity to do new things, to do things differently than before. So the crisis wouldn't go to waste actually. So right now I'm doing a lot of things that I pushed a bit far away from me when there was no crisis. And actually the Corona, the COVID situation gave me opportunity to launch new things than I thought actually would be possible.
okay. Well, so then you launch new things. Why? Like, why? What drives you to take on these endeavors? And what is your big why?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you mentioned that I used to be a pastor.
Yeah.
I used to drive a taxi. I don't drive that much anymore because
Okay.
I'm more actually the one who's providing, facilitating the driving actually. But the thing is, what I've always said is, if someone comes across me, the person should never be the same again. So I'm kind of a influencer in a way, but not the way that you're used to on social media. I influence people. I want to add things to people's lives whenever they come across me. So I don't do it on that broad of a spectrum on social media, but when you come across me, you'll be a different person. That's mainly my thing, actually.
That man, that is huge. having this idea or this aspiration to impact people upon, like, literally meeting them and right away having a certain impact on them. It takes me onto this this counseling thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, there are ways of impacting people, whereas which is, I think, what I prefer more is when people see you, they can decide, or they can take from you whatever they've seen without interacting. However, when you get to interact and have a purpose like yours, why? To impact on them, then there has to be a way of interaction.
Exactly.
A way of communicating.
Yes.
That's counseling. I consider that. So, I had a question that is like, is it, because since I went through your bio, right? Is it correct to say that, counseling is simply something you were, that's your calling. That's something you were made.
Well,
to do.
I used to believe that my calling was to be a pastor.
Okay.
And why is because, growing up as a kid in the church, you see these men, very, they know how to speak, and they're very influential. And I used to hear them speak, and I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted. I want to be a speaker of God. I want to be like the prophets. I just wanted to do the things that they were doing, because I'm a speaker myself. I like to speak. I like to impact people, as you were saying.
Yeah.
So I had in mind that this was my calling. But along the way, I found out that it's not necessarily the title of a pastor that fits me. I'm more a people person, a person. So like we normally in a church, you sit there as a group, and then you hear the pastor speaking to you.
Right.
My thing is having personal connection.
Okay.
So I found out after being a pastor for 5 years that actually I shouldn't be talking to groups in that sense, but I should be working on individual, personal basis. And so that's where I actually focus more on my counseling,
Right.
My coaching, and the things that I do now. I still do speaking appointments.
Okay.
Like, for example, when you're getting married and you invite me to come and speak.
Okay.
The thing that I would do is I would not just come and speak. I remember there was this couple who invited me to come and speak, and I said, well, before I come to speak to you at your wedding, I would do at least 6 to 8 sessions with you to see if you really fit, because I'm not giving my blessing to your wedding unless I know what's going to happen. And the funny thing is that people approach me for just speaking, but when they really get to know me and we get through these sessions, they're like, wow, I never knew that this is actually the thing that we really needed and not just a speaker.
Man.
So yeah, that's why I'm saying that when you come across me, not to boast too much about myself, of course.
Hey, yo, it's fine. This is the platform. We celebrate African excellence.
Thank you.
You have to excel. Like, we like this stuff. We like the fact that there's so much more within you than what we literally can see. Like, you came in, I was like, you dress very just casual, this summer. But then when we get to talk, I'm realizing, even behind this T-shirt and this shorts, there's simply so much more. So feel free. Just
it's a funny thing that
dive
you're saying.
in that.
I used to drive as a taxi driver.
Yeah.
And people don't really consider taxi drivers as educated or
Exactly.
having a good status. So I remember, especially the first months, and actually all through, but people would get into the car and then they would be like, okay, so it's another black African guy driving taxi. He probably doesn't know anything, or And then one thing I always do when someone gets into the car, I'll be like, "Hoe gaat het?" or "How are you?" And then we start talking, and most of the times, after like 5 minutes, they're totally blown away, not expecting what they thought they would, have in the car.
Really?
And so I've had a lot of people, like people from like the top statuses, people from big companies, but also like normal people just like you and me.
Tourists.
Tourists. And I'm not saying that you're not a top guy. I'm just saying, like, there are people
You don't know that yet.
No, I'm just saying there are people who distinguish themselves as if they are, all there.
Right.
And I take myself seriously, but not that serious, So if you come across me, you think, oh, this guy is just a normal guy, But yeah, and I am a normal guy, but it's just that, I don't put a label on myself like, look at me.
Yeah, it will even be hard to kind of like put a label on yourself. Like I have this thing where I'm not into labels either. Why? Because I feel like the minute you put a label on yourself, it's not necessarily puts you in a box. However, there are certain requirements, or all of a sudden there are these boxes you have to tick.
Yeah, exactly.
But the funny thing is, you ticking that box put you in a certain box.
Exactly.
Meaning that when you start talking about other stuff, people would either take it more lightly or not as serious as the title, that the label that you gave them, that hey, I'm a financial guy. And then all of a sudden I start talking about psychology, they're like, I thought you were a financial guy. But so I fully understand what you're saying. And so take me through this journey, like in the for instance, in the taxi. So someone would enter in the cab, right?
Yeah.
And then they sit in the back. I've taken Ubers, and most of the time just headphones.
That's very rude, actually, to put your headphone on.
Yeah, but the times I take Uber, it's like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I enter. I'm like, just play me some music, or let's just get me to my destination. I have to prepare or something like that.
I understand.
But so someone like me, I enter.
Yeah.
How do you start a conversation, and where do you feel like it takes the turn into yes, this is like one of those conversations?
Right.
Because you don't have that with every single passenger, do you?
It's true.
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. As I said, so once you get into the car, I'll just greet you, good morning, good day, whatever.
Yes.
And then I'll ask you how you are, like how was your day, what have you been doing? If it's in the morning, well, I'm not a morning person, so normally I didn't.
You don't drive in the morning.
I didn't drive in the morning. No, I don't like speaking in the morning. So,
Okay.
But yeah, if you get into my car, I'll just ask you these questions, and they are just basic human questions.
Okay.
It's not that hard. But the only thing is, I think I can say I have a trained ear. If you tell me something, even if it's just 3 words, I always hear a little bit more than what you want to just tell me at that point. And the funny thing is that when I give back to the people or the person in the car, they'll be like, how do you know, or how do you feel? Like, for example, there was this guy, he used to work at one of these big universities here in Amsterdam, and he had a very, very bad day.
Right.
So he got into the car, and he was just being the man that he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just asked him, how are you? And he was like, yeah, gaat wel goed, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked him, how was your day? And then he looked up and he said, yeah, it was all right. But the way he said it,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, there's something going on.
Okay.
And then I said, you know what? I feel like there's something going on in your life. And like today, you really had a hard day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I'm also a coach. So if you want, we can talk about it. And he looked at me and he was like, how do you know? And I was like, yeah, I feel it. It's just what I feel right now.
Right.
And he started like 2 sentences, and then he started bursting out and crying.
Oh.
And so what I did is I just pulled over the car. I parked it and turned off the how do you call this thing? The machine.
The meter.
Yeah. And then we talked for like 30 minutes.
Oh wow.
And he really enjoyed that talking,
man.
because he never had the opportunity actually to talk about his personal things,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think that's one thing that is really special about being a taxi driver, or being the person that I am, is I come across people who trust their personal stuff, to me. And as I said, when this guy started talking, he had like the almost like an experience he never had in his life before, and that gave me, well, it was a validation for who I am and what I do, and yeah, we exchanged numbers, and sometimes we would like send each other messages asking how things are.
Right.
And so that's how I get sometimes some of my clients.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Wow.
Yeah. But also some of my friends. I have at least 2 or 3 good friends that are from that kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's that's interesting. That's so profound, and in the way that it's like no more other people would not necessarily know how to deal with this, and not only that, but it's you can have people knocking on a certain door, and I see people as they're always knocking, but then who is there to open it for them?
Exactly.
And this is where some people say this is the doing of God, for instance.
But that's
for
true,
you to meet him. Yeah,
that's true, because here's the thing. I had just left the church for about like 6 months. I wasn't being paid by any church or whatever.
Yeah.
And what happened was, a lot of people would say like, oh, you left the church to become a taxi driver. What happened to you? It's probably not a blessing from God. That's why you go in lower to a lower situation. And I was like, well, that's not how I see it, because now I get to be of a blessing to people who would never enter a church actually. Like, for example, this guy I was talking about, he would never enter a church to search for anyone to talk to. But coming across me and we having this conversation, he felt really blessed that day that there was someone who would listen to his issues at that point, and someone who, well, it's just sometimes you need just a stranger to talk to, for you to get the relief that you need at that point, and I happen to be that person for him today, for that day. So, yeah.
Man, that is also interesting. That sometimes you need a stranger, because there are people who are more confident, or let's say who will easily confide their information with a total stranger than to let's say their family members or friends. So being that taxi driver or being that stranger at that moment was literally what he needed.
Yeah, exactly.
And also in your work, let's say as a taxi driver, but before you were a pastor in the church.
Yeah.
Which church?
Well, I used to be a 7-day Adventist pastor.
That's SDA, right?
SDA, yeah.
Okay. And how long were you a pastor for?
In total, 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
And you graduated into being a pastor. Like, how long had you been going to church? Like, how long have you been a Christian? All of that.
Yeah, those are the questions. Okay, so basically, I was born into the 7-day Adventist church. My grandfather was the first 7-day Adventist in our family. And so he taught all of his children and his grandchildren to become 7-day Adventists. So growing up, it was a normal thing, to go to church on Saturday, not doing the things that you normally would do on other days. And then I think I was about 13 years, and people started saying, I think you should become a pastor. And I believe that too,
13 years.
Yeah, I was 13 because I used to speak at church around that age already, and I think it was about like, let's say 15 to 17 years later that I really decided to go and study theology. And then become a pastor. So because in the 7-day Adventist church, you can't just become a pastor because you are a good speaker.
No, right.
You have to go to school for that. And it wasn't just a normal school. So I went to college, or as you call it, university, and did my bachelor's in theology and religion. So I have 2 bachelors. And then after that, I did a master's in systematic theology.
Okay.
And after that, I came back to the Netherlands, and then became the pastor that I was.
Yo, this is important information. he's an educated pastor, not one who, through talking and through dedication to the church became a pastor, because you have those. But he's actually one. He has 2 degrees, about 2 bachelors, one in religion and one in theology, and also a master's. And then he became a pastor.
Yeah.
But somehow a switch happened.
Yeah, something happened along the way.
We're gonna get into that, but let me just reintroduce the guest. Let me also get back to our listeners. So if you just tuned in, we are talking to Brother Oliver Yeboah. He does too many things, but he's a speaker, he's a serial entrepreneur, he's a life coach, and we're talking with him about, basically his journey, how he was supposed to before, how he's not anymore, how COVID has impacted his life, or actually rather giving him the opportunities to really do what he's called to do. I'm going to go ahead and play just one song or 2 songs for you to freshen up a bit.
Yeah.
And let's play one song and then get back to this conversation.
Listen to your number 1 radio, Hi Radio.
I don't charge my energy, I no get time for no enemy. Torí pé pọ̀lẹ́ tó mi. Nothing wey person never see, nothing wey person never see. Forget it, I say fashi. Money soon expected. Take our body, I jump. I take her to the best. Je. I'm in the answer, then yes sir. Now me then the answer, yes sir. Respect is reciprocal, even though I know say I'm special. Anybody, we no want to search it. Anybody, we no the carry body. I can't something, I can't something. Go back to fele, I can't something. You want your bed, you never walk. Should not because myself, I never talk. I look you, they laugh, you go, kitty, go. I shall no say the time go come, mama, I no say the time go come. When you look go fit the line, oh, mama, life not on python. Whether you like or not, go back to me, you best get it go pass. So yeah, keep me jack on bow. Anybody, we no want to search it. Anybody, we no the carry body. I can't something, I can't something. To bata fele, I can't something. Money soon expected. Take our body, I jump. I take her to the best. Je. I'm in the answer, then yes sir. Now me then the answer, yes sir. Respect is reciprocal, even though I know say I'm special. Anybody, we no want to search it. Anybody, we no the carry body. I can't something, I can't something. To bata fele, I can't something. To bata fele, to bata fele.
Let's get right back into it. That was a quick music break for you to also have some some water. All right, so where were we? Did we left off?
Don't remember actually.
Church,
yeah.
SDA.
Yeah, church, exactly.
An educated pastor. That is. First of all, I have people tuned in on our YouTube. Big ups to JD watching live from the Netherlands. African Focus Good Conversation already. Mr. Gary, who's also tuned in. Miss.ABA is tuned in.
All right.
So,
Hi, Miss
you
ABBA.
know, hi, Miss.ABA. And so, hey, if you're tuned in, if you have any questions, please, comment, because I have questions, but may not be enough. And, you know, I already said he's a life coach, he's a speaker, he has his taxi business, he has other businesses that he also, he does. We get into all of that. So if you have any questions about how to, switch careers, how to switch your mindset, just please kindly ask or present them, and I'll ask that to brother Oliver Yeboah. So, Mr. Oliver Yeboah, I can't just say Oliver Yeboah. I have to put a Mr. on it.
Nah, you can just say Oliver even. It's no problem.
No, yeah, Oliver is fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, Oliver, you left church.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something easy.
No, it wasn't easy.
Not even as a member. You left church as a pastor,
It's
right?
True, it's true.
So, Oliver, how difficult was it to make this shift? And was it a more mental shift, or the entire life had to be adjusted or readjusted?
Well, the thing is, leaving church wasn't easy, and it didn't just happen overnight. It took a couple of years for me to get where I am right now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I started studying that the change started. There's this thing that you get to learn at school once you get at that level, the academic level, is they have this thing called deconstruction and reconstruction.
Okay.
And so therefore, once you come in, you learn how to deconstruct everything that you know, or everything you think you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it happened. So one of the basic things that was deconstructed is, like, the main thing that all Christians believe in, which is the Bible. Where does it come from? Who wrote the Bible?
Was this in religion or in theology that you had to?
That was actually in theology.
In theology, okay.
In theology, okay. And so the thing with theology is it's not there to make you a better believer per se, right? Theology is there to make you a better thinker, to understand what you're reading and why the things are the way they are.
Okay.
And so the question, who wrote the first 5 books of the Bible? Normally everyone would say Moses,
right,
because that's what we had thought, Yeah, so I thought that was
Wait, it's not Moses?
Wait, so I thought that was an easy one, right?
Okay.
So I remember the professor, because I was studying back then in America, and the professor said, write a paper about it. And I was like, why would I write a paper about it? It's easy. I'll just have to write Moses, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave me a list of books to read, and I was like, this is an easy one. I'm just going to write a couple of things. And then I started reading, doing some research, and I was like, okay, it's probably not Moses as I thought it was. So I started digging. And once I started noticing that it cannot be Moses,
Right.
It started shaking, and it wasn't that big at that point that my belief system was falling apart.
Right.
But it was just that I was like, I've always thought it was Moses, and this is one of the most basic things everyone knows and everyone should know. So then who is it then? And then you start to understand how literature works, actually, how texts are set up, and how one text can look like the other, but actually not the same as the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, I found out that there could be at least 4 different authors. As a matter of fact, well, it could be a very long discussion on this one, but like, for example, if you look at Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, they sound the same, but they are not the same.
Right.
One is more like a poetry, and the other one sounds like a historical revelation about how it all went about, which is not. So then you start reading more, and you find out that even Moses tells about his death, he writes about his own death, that he was dead and then he was buried there and there and there. And I was like, how is that possible?
If he's dead.
If he's dead, So these are the basic things I normally talk about, because if I would go deeper into other stuff, we won't be finished today. But all I'm trying to say is the most basic things that I just took for granted,
right?
They started shifting, and that's where I started asking more questions, because I'm kind of very skeptic person myself. Okay. But then getting there where I was at that point made me more skeptical, and I was like, okay, so then what is it and who is it, and not getting the answers that I expected made me also very curious. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's and I'm sure the answers or the questions that you were receiving or like that were popping up in your mind, the answers to those questions you probably wouldn't have found in the church.
No, definitely not. As a matter of fact, so when I came back, it is like 5 years, 5.5 years later, I came back and I remember sitting there, Seventh-day Adventists, we have this thing called the Sabbath school, but I think it's the same as the Sunday school,
right.
And you talk about like biblical stuff and you discuss things, But in this class that you sit, people will be talking about stuff, and I'll be sitting there as a pastor, or I wasn't officially a pastor yet at that point, but sitting there hearing people, and then they would ask my opinion, and then I would just sit there, because I know if I would say something, I wouldn't say the thing, I wouldn't be telling them the things that they normally would believe. And so in the first few months, it was very difficult, actually. I was like, okay, but we've been saying this, and the Bible says this, but according to theology, it's this. But so let's just keep it the way we have been,
Okay.
That was the easy way out.
Yeah. So let me get it right. You went to this, you went to educate yourself scholastically, like got the papers.
Yeah.
Came back to the church.
Yeah.
And you were not a pastor yet.
No.
But you trained yourself into becoming a pastor. Whilst, you sat there with all these questions, all this curiosity within you.
Yeah.
How did you cope? How did you manage to still go through with this?
Yeah, that was a very hard part, actually, because I remember a lot of the students who start the academic journey on that theological level, not all of them finish. No. In the sense of not finishing the study because they lose their faith, right? For me, it was a very hard challenge because, as I said, I'm very skeptical, but it doesn't mean that I lose my faith that easily.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, having those questions, getting them answered not the way I expected, it gave me actually the feeling or the idea that I thought that I knew something, but it actually confirmed that I know nothing at all. And the more I thought I knew, the more I read, the more I realized that I don't know anything, actually. I really don't know. And so therefore, I remember if I would have these classes with young people, because I would come back every now and then to the church, and then they would ask me stuff because they knew I was studying. Then I would say, I don't know. And then some of them would say, how come you don't know? You're studying, you're on that level, so you're supposed to know. And then, but there were also other people who would be like, I really appreciate that answer, actually, for you to tell me that you don't know, because that means you're really into the thing that you're saying. So some people go to church to hear the answer of God coming out of the mouth of the pastor or the one who supposedly had been speaking to God.
The prophet.
Yeah, as a prophet. And so the hard thing for me was the position that people will put me in, as in, like, you're supposed to be the one who's up there, who's the person who knows what God wants. And it became very hard for me to continuously actually let the people know that I don't know. As in, like, it's not that I don't know, but I just don't want to fight against their faith. Because once you come or say anything against someone's faith, it becomes a personal thing. People identify themselves with the faith that they have. And so I remember that one day someone came to me, asked me a simple question, and then I said, well, I don't think that was the way it went in the Bible. Like, for example, If someone would ask me, for example, did what's this story again about the guy who went into the belly of the fish? Jonah, yeah. Did Jonah really get into the belly of the fish? And I was like, no, I don't think that's what the story is trying to tell you. It's telling you something else. But did it really happen? And then, well, from my understanding on that level, I said no. And I was like, yeah, but you probably don't believe God can do such a thing. I'm like, well, it's not about that. We take the Bible as something that gives us historical facts.
Right.
But it's not. The Bible doesn't give us historical facts. It gives us theological ideas about God. It's our understanding of God. And the people who wrote it, they didn't think about me in 2021 that I would understand what they were trying to convey at that point. They were just putting things down for their audience at that point to understand what is going on and to keep on the ideas they had. So. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to not go against what people already know.
Yeah.
And still be honest to myself.
But if it was that hard, I mean, was there any sort of support, like people around you who knew what you had just gone through and the type of questions that were roaming around in
I had some
mind?
colleagues who understood what I was going through, and I had friends who also studied on that level, people I went to school with, and they knew about the challenges there were.
Yeah.
So to them I could really talk freely, and they understood.
Even as a pastor?
Even as a pastor, okay. Yeah, because they were pastors themselves, and a couple of us, well, yeah, at least two of us, we quit because we couldn't do it anymore. Yeah.
So it wasn't only you had someone. 'Cause I mean, I'm sure it's more daring or frightening to just quit alone, because then you really that path is just you.
Yeah. Well, I quit first in the sense because it wasn't that. Because we decided let's do this together, and then we did it together. No, we didn't jump together. I stopped first, and then the other guy a couple of months later followed.
Yeah.
But it was something. Here's the thing. I never felt that after I had spoken, I had spoken exactly about the notes that God gave me.
Right.
Here's the thing. I remember one day I was speaking, and after speaking, the elder came and he was like, "All right, now, so God has spoken to us." And I was like, "Well, that was my hard work. I took at least a week to write this sermon." So.
But I'm sure you know what they meant with that.
No, of course, obviously, I'm not taking any credit from God in that sense. But all I'm trying to say is, they put you on a pedestal where you don't want to be. And all I wanted at that point is that people would understand that pastors are just like any other humans out there. I've never sat next to God and compared my notes with him, and then I said, "Oh, okay, we're on the same." No. And that's one thing that really bothered me. Hearing some other people or other colleagues saying some things as if they knew exactly what God wants the people to do.
Yeah. Are you a big question, a crucial one? Are you still a believer?
Yeah. In what?
In let's say in the God SDA had introduced you to.
Right. So that's an easy one. That answer is no. I don't believe in the white God who is out there helping me find my keys, or the things that I lose, or the things I want to buy, or no, it's not that. I do believe though in a higher entity that I have no idea how he, she, it works.
Okay.
And I think we all give him a name. One person will call him God, Nyame, or Allah. And it's all a spiritual experience that we have.
Right.
And what happens is that if I would teach my kids, if I would teach your kids, if I would teach a group of people how things are, from my spiritual point of view, and they start believing it, and it becomes a system, it becomes a church eventually. And after I'm gone, the second generation might say, but this is how it's supposed to be, you know, and that's not how it works. Because it started somewhere. Someone decided that it should be this way. And that's how Seventh-day Adventist Church is. Any other Christian church.
Pentecostal church.
Exactly.
All the other churches.
So all I'm trying to say is, if we started somewhere, or if we confess that, you know, it started somewhere, it means that we are still developing. It doesn't have to be one single way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, myself, I'm all in for the fact that I think, because I found it very disheartening to believe that, you know, in Amsterdam Southeast alone there are over 600 churches.
Yeah.
Nah, man, that's crazy. And some of them are in the, you know, those school buildings and this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, what if all these small churches, you know, you don't really have to compromise your idea about God. I mean, because you all believe in the same Bible, this one God.
Yeah.
Just come together and have a, you know, huge fellowship, right? That I think would be
I think
point.
you know, having different churches is like having different kind of schools, or having different kinds of shops where you go and buy your stuff. You know, there's some competition going on, but the only thing what's happening in these churches, where I disagree with actually, is it's more like a business than helping the people. You know, because that's one of the main reasons why I left churches. It's not necessarily that I don't believe in God anymore, but it's also because I don't feel like people who come to church get the help that they really need. Okay. And that's why I became the counselor and coach that I am today.
Wow. That's just, you know, something you disagreed in the church, but I'm sure there are other things you liked about in the church. So what is one thing, like, since you stopped this pastor and you stopped being a pastor and going to church, what is one thing you really miss about, you know, just the SDA church or church in general?
Yeah, the community feeling is really, you know, just belonging to a group. That was one of the hardest things, because I was leaving church and I was, okay, so where do I belong?
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to church anymore on Saturdays. Or where would I go? So I started going to these philosophical meetings at Central Station, actually, with a group of philosophical thinkers, you know. But that wasn't my place either.
Okay.
So one of the things I really liked about the church, and I think which serves a great purpose, is, you know, the belonging thing, the community.
The community thing. Because you find out that many people that you know, whether friends, classmates, this and that, or your really close friends, you've either met in church or go with you to church. So you know, once you stop, like, simply going to church, it's like you don't see them, or you miss out on a lot of things. Did you have the same thing when you stopped going to church? Like 3/4 of your community just vanished.
Yeah. That definitely happened. It's not that they hate me or that I hate them, you know, but it's, you know how it works. Once you have the same idea, share the same belief systems, you know, it's easy to connect.
Right.
One thing I was having problems with later on is that once they meet me, all they could talk about is just religion, you know, God and church. And in a way, I started, you know, moving myself away from that kind of conversations, because I was like, okay, I'm also a normal human being. I like going to theaters, for example. Let's talk about that. I like movies too, so let's talk about that. But, you know, as a pastor, that's not what is expected from you, you know, to talk about movies or music or any worldly thing like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, pastors have it more heavier, the burden upon them to, let's say, live a righteous life or a biblical life.
Right.
It's more straining than if you would have been just a church, let's say, a Christian, normal Christian without any responsibilities. But okay, I mean, you know, is that where your journey pretty much started? Like your journey as a entrepreneur, your journey as a life coach, a speaker, is that where it all began?
Yeah, I think it started on that early point around my age of 13, you know, when I started seeing these people and they were saying, oh, you should become a pastor. But then eventually when I became this pastor, and not wanting to continue, I had to reinvent myself.
Right there.
And it was at that point actually that I thought, okay, so I mean, I've been a bookkeeper, a junior accountant. I've been a financial advisor. I've studied theology.
All in the church.
No,
outside of the church.
Outside of the church.
Oh, wow.
So as a financial advisor, I used to work for the ABN AMRO.
Oh, man.
As a junior accountant, I started as a junior accountant when I finished school. You know. And then I studied theology. So I was like, okay, what can I do?
Okay.
You know what I did?
What?
So after I left church, I went to work in the meat factory of Albertijn. I was just picking meat from one point to the other. I was just doing this. Exactly. That was what people were saying.
Wait, hold on. So as an educator.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I mean, yeah. Wow, love it.
I just thought, you know what? My head is like, I'm tired. It's too much in my head. I just need some time to think, reinvent myself, do something else in life, and just not bother myself. After all, it's not just about money or status. It's also about like the purpose in your life,
right?
And really knowing who you are and where you're going to. And so I stood there and I thought to myself, I'm just like the prodigal son, actually now, you know.
But that means that there's a bright future ahead, or there's a reward.
Well, I mean, yeah, coming. I mean, there is a bright future in that sense too, because like where I am today is the brighter part, you know.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, let's get into it. Where are you now?
So right now I have at least 3 businesses going on. Besides the coaching and being a speaker, celebrant as we call it, celebrating people's weddings, for example, marriages. I'm also the director of Blue Plates. And Blue Plates is a platform for taxis. So what happens is, if you have a taxi, the car itself, you're not allowed to drive more than 12 hours a day here in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So 12 hours a day. After 12 hours, you have to leave your car and go rest. If you drive more, you get a fine, and eventually you might even lose your license.
Right.
So after 12 hours, you have to go home and relax. Now what happens if you calculate 12 hours in a day, and you have to leave like half of the day your car to just stand there? That means half of the year you're paying for your car and not getting any money out of it. So there are also drivers who don't own a car. Yeah. And my idea was to bring those who don't have a car and those who have a car, bring them together on the platform. So on my platform, it's called Blue Plates. I just bring these people together. While you're sleeping, your car is still making the money for you. And those who don't have a car can just use your car, you know.
So it's pretty much the car will be paying itself.
Exactly. So the main thing on our platform is don't work too hard for money. Let the money work hard for you. You know?
Man.
Yeah, that's what we do on our platform.
And even speaking of those cars, you know, taxi cars are not cheap.
Exactly. For example, even the insurance, the monthly insurance is about like 350, 400 euros a month.
Yeah, and I know in Amsterdam, or I know that in the Netherlands, like, you know, because, you know, let's just explain to the listeners what this blue plate really means.
Yeah.
Because it normally here in the Netherlands you have yellow plates.
Exactly.
But you know, why do taxi drivers have blue plates?
So in the Netherlands you have two number plates, so two vehicle number plates. The yellow ones are for like any other person, not professionally driving. So you and I, if we're not driving professionally, we have a yellow number plate. And then you have the professional drivers, which are the taxi drivers. They have these blue number plates on their car. So coming up with a new business, it was easy. Blue plates.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the name is straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just blue plates.
Everyone knows if you're talking about a blue number plate in the Netherlands that they're talking about a taxi.
Taxi drivers. Yeah. And you know, and taxi. Why are taxi so expensive actually?
Well, I mean, the taxi is almost like, as I said, like 12 hours in a day. They are at least on the road. So the more you're on the road, the more risk you run to damage something, you know. And then the people who you have in your car, needs to be insured as well.
Right.
So all of it all together, the car itself is not expensive as one, and then to get the insurance for the car is another thing. And then because the car is driving all the time, you need the maintenance and everything.
Yeah.
So in all, you're paying about like 1,000 to 1,200 euros a month if you own the car yourself.
Yeah.
And with my concept with Blue Plates,
that's a mortgage.
That's a lot of money. So with Blue Plates, I'm offering the opportunity actually to earn at least 500 euros a month extra on what you're already making.
Nice.
So yeah.
Oh, yo, that's a dope idea. That's a dope concept.
Thank you.
So this wasn't there before.
So here's the thing. I after I left the meat factory, I started driving taxi. I got my license and everything, and I started driving taxi and just driving around. It was the year of return in Ghana. I went to Ghana.
So it's 2019?
2019, yeah. I went to Ghana in December. And then when I came back, I was driving at Leidse somewhere. And it was in the middle of the city. And I was like, this is it. It was like a revelation. This is it. We need to do this. And so I had 3 other business partners back then. And I parked my car and texted them, I have this genius idea. Let's do this. And they were like, what are you talking about? Yeah, let's just do this. I'll explain it Monday at the meeting. And then I explained it to them, and they were like, okay, but there's some opportunity here, but there's also a lot of problems to get this fixed because, as you know, in the Netherlands we have a lot of laws and regulations. You cannot just set up a business and think like you're going to do it. So we started doing this, and this is where I am now.
So the Blauwe Platen, Blue Plates is up and running.
Yeah. Blue Plates is up and running. So you can go to our website, blueplates.app. If you're a taxi driver, you have the licenses and everything. You can register and book one of our cars. If you don't have a license, but you do have a car, for example, because you can be a car owner without being a driver, and just put your car there on the platform and let it make money for you while you're sleeping.
Man, that's another way of investment, pretty much. If you have that money to just to pay the car and have it work for itself, that's brilliant. Yo, this is something we have to promote. Yo, this is the first time me hearing all this.
So if you just want to make money on the side while you're doing your office job, you could just get a car and put it on the platform and let it make money for you. Actually, this thing is happening in Ghana as well, with the trotros and everything.
Exactly. With these taxi or Uber. I have people. I even thought of doing it myself. Like purchase one of those small cars in Ghana and then have a taxi or Uber driver ride it. I'll do the maintenance. And that's pretty much the same idea.
Well, there's nowhere I got it from. But
it's kind of like
thing.
It's similar. Oh, great. So you have a team.
Yeah, I have people who I work with, and everyone is working hard, to make this thing really a success. So we're working hard on it.
And are you guys also working on other projects? What are the other projects that it's coming out
that's
from this
Blue
thing?
Plates. Blue Plates is the thing that really is taking most of my time lately. But that's because it's a startup, So and then there's this other thing that I'm doing, which is called IMU Care. IMU Care is a care business. We facilitate caretakers to get jobs and help other people, and especially actually in our own community as Ghanaians. The thing is that there are people who get the help they need, the care they need, and without saying this way, but white people know where they can get their care.
Yes.
They know where to find the money to to help for people who come and do their cleaning in the house, help them wash up and everything. But a lot of our elders, they don't have those kind of help, and we found this out, and I'm doing this with Nora, that we wanted to find a way to help our community in that sense. So the elders who are sitting at home, having problems of, like, for example, if you need care for washing up, for cleaning your house, or any other thing that is necessary, we'll come to you, and then we who just do an investigation for you and then find those necessary subsidies that are there for you,
Right.
And get you the help that you need.
Cool. So it's called
IMU Care.
IMU Care.
Yeah, I as in I,
Yeah.
M, U. So the 3 letters.
Just 3 letters.
Yeah.
IMU
Care.
Care, bringing people who need care
Yeah.
from the community.
So here's the
as
thing:
well as
we
the
say
care.
IMU Care is because IMU, we take care of you as the way we would take care of ourselves.
Of ourselves.
Yeah.
And of course, having someone take care of you who, let's say, from your own cultural background. I mean, that is in itself, it has its advantages.
Exactly.
I mean, the first thing I was like, okay, at least that person can understand the type of food that you really want. If you can't make it yourself, maybe your carer can support you in getting those ingredients or this and that, and can help you, because I know which is something that we've also learned, let's say on African Focus during this corona, is that finding the food that you really like, that is to your heart, helps you go through this COVID pandemic a lot. So IMU Care, I love that. I had a question on this life coaching. How is that going? Like, do you have a target group, or are you specifically like the young ones, or more the elderly ones, or actually the religious ones, the Christians and this and that?
Right.
Like,
so I'm not that selective in who I help. It's more like what comes to me, especially lately, because I don't go out there to find new customers because of Blue Plates, for example, that I'm very much busy with. But I do have customers, or clients actually, I should say, who find me in through other word by mouth, actually. So for example, the last few people that I had were young ladies who were having some issues in their lives, and then I would just help them out. But there are also young people who want to start a business, for example. I help them out as well.
Right.
And as I said, also there are people who are on that kind of level, on like, for example, if the guy who stepped into my car.
Right.
It's a whole different kind of conversation.
Of course.
But my aim is always to liberate the people from the conditioning in their head. Mostly it's about limiting beliefs, and not necessarily a religious belief, but just the beliefs that limit them in their their goals, actually. And I help people to let that go.
Cool. It's let's say life coach somehow is, and of course it's counseling, and it's also like you said, it's the impact that you want to have on people, and also like relieving them there from any mental limitations or whatnot. This requires some knowledge in psychology.
Yeah, and I had some during my academic studies.
Okay, beautiful.
And I read. Well, I used to read a lot. I just don't have the time for it lately. But I used to read a lot, and I've done a lot of research on some of the things myself. The fun part of studying actually is never the part that you have to get grades.
No,
because I never liked exams. I never liked the papers were more interesting to me. But once I started studying theology, I found out that there is so much more that I don't know, and so therefore I wanted to know more. And I started like studying and learning more about theology, philosophy, and theology. So one of the main things that I discovered is that we actually are all in the same human condition. I'm not more human than you are. For me, we're all the same. So we deal all with the same problems. And one of the problems that we normally deal with, are the fact that we live in the future. For example, you constantly think like, okay, how's the future going to be? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And it creates anxiety, actually. So in my conversation with people, when I'm listening, those are the things that I hear. You're anxious about something that is about to happen or not happened yet. But there's also this side that we think,
In the past.
in the past,
Yeah.
and that causes depression, because you think like, oh, I did this wrong, and I should have done this,
I should have.
I should have,
questions. Yeah.
and it creates very much a lot of problems. And just to go back a little back to the church, these things happens a lot in the church, because it seems like in the church, people are either thinking a lot about how they will be received by God, in the sense of, are they doing good enough, or how they've been in the past, where they're not too much of a sinner, and shouldn't they be doing better now, actually, instead of just being in the now, being here,
Right.
and operating from the power that has been given them at that point,
Right.
and so in the coaching, in the counseling, I focus in the here and now, what is really happening, instead of blaming others, or God, or the devil in the negative sense, that is moving or doing things in your life. I ask the person, what is really going on in your life in the here and now? What are you doing? How are you participating in this whole thing? The funny thing is that people always think that it's God who is doing this when it's good, and when it's bad, it's the devil, or themselves.
Yeah.
But then, where is your responsibility? I would ask. It's the focus is on the person
In the now.
In the now.
Right. That's a big takeaway. That's a highlight in itself. Just in closing, because let's say for myself, I've done some little reading, and exactly what you said. There are these two things. What could I have done, or what I should have done, and there is this what ifs, right? Where one is the future and one is the past, limiting yourself into living in the now. But this is a philosophy that I got from reading a book called The Courage to be Disliked. I've been on this show and I promoted that book.
Really?
And it's it deals with psychology of Adler, who was one of the, let's say, the offsprings from Jung, but he had his own way, wherein he was like, more, whatever your future is going to be is in your hands. Whereas
it's existential philosophy,
right? And whereas Carl Jung and the other one, I can't think of his name, but they had this as in the now is a consequence of everything that has happened before. So in order to understand it, which is valid.
Yeah.
However, Adler said, but your future has nothing to do with your past.
Your past, no.
Your future has everything to do with
the now.
What you decide to do now.
Yeah.
Right? I love that. I embrace that ideology. I embrace that philosophy, and that is how I intended on living my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to just enforce what you just said. The many of our elders are the previous generation who came here, for example, or are still in Ghana, who set up businesses. There are people who would set up business, like 30 different kind of businesses. They will start one today, tomorrow they'll find another opportunity and just continue. And then if none of them works, they will always blame something or someone. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have more businesses, because it's a great thing if you're just multidisciplined or that way. But everything you do, everything you reach has more to do with what you were doing. I don't think it's God who prefers you to do this and me to do that, and if you're not listening, then he will punish you by make your business go bad or whatever. It all has to do with your own input and your own impact and everything that you decide to do. And so therefore, I mean, even though myself, I'm doing a lot of the things, there's also some responsibility in what I have, it's not just doing business. It's also something that I'm giving back to the community itself.
Right.
So in that sense, there's a higher purpose in all that you're doing. I hope I make sense in what I'm saying, actually.
I mean, a lot of sense. And with that last bit, I heard of this platform, Africans Like Me.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you is it time to introduce it yet, or
Yeah,
is that
I
in the
mean,
workings?
Africans Like Me is. I mean, Africans Like Me started 3 years ago in my
Oh,
head, but it's this year January that I really put it out there.
okay.
Okay, short story. 1998, I went to Ghana after being here for a long while, and I was supposed to stay there for like 4 weeks. And me and some other friends that we were there, one of them with me together, we decided to come back within 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks. And then I came back, and my mom was like, "You're such a bounty," And I was like, "Mom, but I just couldn't find any friends there."
Wait, bounty, that is you're black on the outside, white on the inside.
Exactly. I mean, and up till now, she laughs about it, and
Right.
but she was right. I mean, I have been very much into the white community. Not that it's very bad, but I almost forgot my roots.
Your roots,
And
okay.
3 years ago, I wanted to go back home, and fortunately, I started looking out for my brothers and sisters, but I looked at my phone and I couldn't find any of them actually. Well, there were a couple of them, but not that much.
Mhm.
And Africans Like Me started then, and I was like, okay, I want to have more brothers and sisters, and therefore Africans who look like me, not necessarily doing the same thing, but have been here abroad for that long, and finding their way out in the diaspora, but also getting their mind back to home and doing something. So therefore, Africans Like Me, I just go out there on the net, search for people. I just found Dr. Yuande living in Los Angeles, doing this great thing with John Legend, and we had this great conversation, interviewed her, and we just posted her yesterday actually. But yeah, that's how, I mean, I just go on the net and find people out there, that are Africans like me. They're just out there doing their things,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then so it's on that platform, we can go on the platform and then find these.
Go on Instagram, find Africans Like Me, or find me, Oliver Yeboah, and then you find Africans Like Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let me get to we're closing right now actually, but I have some comments coming in.
Okay.
Someone said, Agnes says, this man is a CSF. I can feel it. Bless his wisdom.
What's a CSF?
That's a common sense family.
Oh, okay.
That's a common sense family, which is a really good thing, because they are down to earth with their ideology, as in we are all one, like MS.ABA is saying, which is the Ubuntu philosophy. That is also something we got to learn here on the platform as well.
Yeah.
DJ, Slim, it's like, I wish to see him preaching, because the way he talks is amazing. Somehow your pastoral history that kind of like trained you also, trained your many skills.
Yeah.
Especially the orbital skills. So which is beautiful.
Thank you.
Man, there's so much getaways or takeaways from this conversation, but I really, really, really want to thank you.
Thank you
a lot. Like really, I enjoyed it. I think you can tell.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I'm really happy to be here. Actually, it went faster than I thought.
Yeah, me too. I keep looking over the clock. I'm like, is it 9 already? But yeah, I mean, that was a healthy conversation. The podcast is gonna look extremely good on this one. Thank you so much. For the listeners, in closing, do you have anything else to share? Where can they find you?
Yeah, well, so if your mother is living here in the Netherlands and she's a bit older and she needs some care, please go to our website imucare.nl, and just call us, send us an email or contact us in any way, and we'll try to find and do as much we can do for your parents. If not for your church members. One of the things that we're planning to do is visit some of the churches and explain these things, that the opportunities are there, and that they don't have to worry about money in that sense, because if the white people can get it for free, why not us? So yeah, IMU Care.
That's IMU Care. And also Blue Plate is there.
Yeah, Blue Plate is there. If you want to make more money, buy a car, put it on the platform. If you don't know how it works, just contact me. And I'll help you find the way to, make some more money on the side.
Yep. Africans Like Me is there.
Africans Like Me is there as well.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Instagram. Yeah, go on Instagram and find that one out. Yeah.
What else is there? Life coaching.
If you're getting married, or
speaker.
Here's the thing. If you want to get married, I do this thing called prepare and enrich. So I prepare you to get married or enrich your relationship.
Enrich. Okay. Look, like money enrich or
no. Enrich
like
the relationship.
Flourish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not all about money.
It's not gonna give you money, guys. I thought,
Well, I mean, I can help you make more money, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. I mean, find you on Instagram.
Yeah. Oliver Yeboah.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, oliveryeboah.com.
I knew it. I just knew it. No, I mean, you have to have a website, because if you out there, there's these many things. Like 2 weeks ago.
I don't promote myself that much normally, so you're really forcing my hand now.
I mean, hey, I have to. This is the platform to do so.
Thank you.
But all in all, thank you so much. I mean, it's a lovely Sunday. The sun is still out.
Yeah. Going to enjoy it. I mean, I'm here in my shorts, my t-shirt.
Why not? Are you gonna follow the European Championships? Are you rooting for Netherlands?
Not really, actually, to be honest. I don't have time for that.
Are you for real? I mean,
I do. I mean, I'll see some coming and going, but yeah.
I'm the same. I'm probably not even gonna watch one match. But all in all, we're here. Have a blessed Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. How do you spell I am you care? That is the 3 letters. I am you. Yeah. That's it. I am you, and find it, or go on his Instagram, Oliver
O Yeboah.
Oliver O Yeboah.
Yeah.
Just O Yeboah,
or
Oliver
just O Yeboah.
O Yeboah.
O Yeboah. Yeah.
O Yeboah. O Yehovah.
Not Jehovah. You know what's funny? This is a white people thing. Like, I introduced myself one day, at the white people conference, and I introduced myself. Hi, my name is Oliver Yeboah, and he was like, "What? Oliver Ebola?" And I was like, "No, it's not funny." But he didn't mean it that way.
Yeah. Oh,
but
man.
Just Yeboah.
Okay, just O Yeboah. I'll help you with the spelling. Get in touch with the African Focus, and thank you so much. Hope to hear. I mean, next time you'll be on a platform, it's probably going to be another business venture that you just started.
No. We're focusing now.
But and if I happen to get married, how probably
come find me. I'll make sure that the person who marries you knows what she's doing or he is doing. I don't know. I mean, anything goes lately.
You hear that, ladies? I have someone who got my back on this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I got her back too, so don't worry about it.
Man, here I thought, Oliver was going to support.
No. I never choose sides. That's the thing.
Amazing. All right, so thank you so much. I'm gonna play a track record, and then we out. Like literally, I'm done.
All right, thank you.
Zagadat. Same time body 10. It's your boy.
It's P. Kelly.
My baby, they confuse me, with that bomb. But she got the guy where they send her money from London. She they see me like a Johnny just come. Yeah. My monkey they walking, baboon he just the chop. Me I go chop all the washing, as long as you give me my passion. Baby, make you know they rush me. I beg you, make you treat me with caution. Leg over, my baby, give me leg over. Hangover, baby, she dey give me hangover. Hey, leg over, oh no, make give me leg over. Hey, game over. She can't give me game over. Hey, I dey confuse you. I dey confused when you turn around, baby. You dey make her confuse. You do all like a Cameroon, mesmerize the boy, and baby.